Hello everyone, I'm Antom64.
I'm the Flameclaw.
And welcome back to Mario. We are continuing with our assault on Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario The Lost Levels. Now, this was not released until All-Stars, at least in the West, because, I'll give you the TLDR. Nintendo was futzing about with Super Mario Versus, doing some different level designs and whatnot, and wanted to make hard levels, essentially. But Nintendo of America was like, that shit is too hard for our feeble Western hands, so you know what, we'll just take this, what's this game called, Donkey Donkey Picnic, and, we'll just, do some sprite changes and bada bing bada boom. There's your Super Mario Bros. 2. So yeah, we didn't get this until it released on All-Stars in '93.
And that is a direct quote from Nintendo themselves, what Tom just said. But yes, the general gist of Lost Levels is it's Super Mario Bros. But hard. And I do want to say that when we were putting together this playthrough, when we were putting our plans together for it, Tom didn't want to cover this game to start with.
Nope.
But I, however, am not a coward and will show you all of my absolute genuine skill at Mario here. That's totally not just retakes in the form of like the monkey typewriter theorem come to life.
Oh my
Because
God.
yes, this is being completely transparent here. This is very heavily tool assisted. I cannot play Mario Lost Levels this well, so I'm doing this to make it more efficient to watch, more so than as a show of skill.
I think whenever I went to play All-Stars Plus World, I was more leaning towards, like, either World or Free. Stuff that had, like, a semblance of a real living world. You had the actual map, an overworld, as it were, and you could, save your progress in the case of World, and bada bing, bada boom. And if that's, like, heaven, this is hell. I don't think I ever beat Lost Levels.
The thing is, like, I kind of get that understanding you want the world to feel more lived in and whatnot. At the same time, I do, like I said in the first game commentary, I like the feeling of platforming at its most simple, and this feels like the more natural evolution of what Super Mario Bros. Was, for better or worse, leaning more toward the worst part here.
Ooh.
But when you think about video games in this era and what Nintendo were doing with video games in this era, I feel like there was a bit of uncertainty on what a video game sequel should really be. And it seems like the mentality they were going with for this game would have been that if people are playing the second game, they've probably already beat the first game.
Yeah.
And so they're probably fine with that level of difficulty. So we just sort of escalate it a bit. Because, like, what we're seeing here could be, like, the next level that takes on the, like, gameplay after World 8 of the first game. This could be your World 9. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't really feel that out of place. So, like, if you look at it from that perspective, then I sort of understand why this game came out the way it did. But also, I'm kind of glad that that trend didn't really continue. Like, could you imagine if they took that even further after you beat all the secret levels of this game? And it's like, well, what's next? Oh, 10 Bowsers per screen? Sure, why not?
Well, there is a little-known game, I believe it's Super Mario 35, no longer available to play, although I did win a round or two on that, and I just love sending Bowsers to the other players' screens.
You've got that for your, like, getting your Bowser fix. You've also got my Mario Maker levels.
Oh my God, it's been so long since we covered those.
Like I was saying about our 2D Mario is kind of underrepresented on the channel, I'm pretty sure that Mario Maker 2 was our most recent 2D Mario LP.
Oh, my bones.
Like, the 3D side of the series has been covered to hell and back at this point, but 2D, no, it's like, we just have to prep ourselves to talk over, like, hours and hours of Mario Goes Right.
Oh, love it. That's my favourite kind of commentary. I'm definitely not already out of things to say or anything.
That's fine. We can just sort of, like, we probably spent like a quarter of the last part talking about Pong.
Oh my God, don't phrase it that way.
I mean, that's not a lie though, is it?
No. Or my name is an Orneo Horneo.
That what we just saw there is one of the more annoying parts of Lost Levels level design, because not only do you have to figure out that that invisible block is there to use it as like a step up, but also if you find it a bit too late and the screen's already scrolled past, you then can't do anything with it. So your only option is to just jump in the pit and try again. Which is kind of annoying. Level design.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of trial and error, and you may say, well, Tom, aren't you a Sonic fan? You know, trial and error is a big part of Sonic. And I say to the yes, mostly when you're going for, you know, a smooth, nay, a flawless run. Not so much playing it normally.
There's a kind of balance with this sort of thing where I feel like players who do learn the levels, who do remember what's where, should have a benefit from doing that, which in a lot of games like this, like with Sonic, is that you can play it quickly and you can play it more efficiently, and that feels good. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to have a point where the casual player on his first time run is going to have a frustrating experience just because he didn't know that something was in a certain place. That's when I have a problem.
Goodbye, fake Bowser. God, there's a lot of fake Bowsers here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that someone's getting use from them somewhere, right? There's Toads on the screen. You don't have to follow that nice thing up.
Alright, a few factoids about Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. It has 32 levels across 8 worlds and 20 bonus levels. Will we be playing all the bonus levels, Flame?
Yes, so you might have noticed that this playthrough, unlike the first one, is split into parts. The first part that we're doing here is the main game, and then the second part will be the post-game. So, yeah, it's pretty meaty. Like, the reason I didn't do the post-game stuff with the first game is because it's basically just the same levels again, but with, like, harder enemy placements and whatnot. Whereas, for this one, they're entirely new levels, for the most part. There's a couple that are just tweaked a bit, but it's, like, mostly new content. So, yeah, we'll be showing those off.
Cool. And the other thing I wanted to mention is there's no two-player mode in the game, but you can choose to play between either Mario or Luigi. Luigi is designed for skilled players. He has slower acceleration and deceleration with a higher jump height, whereas Mario is the opposite. This is kind of where Luigi got his start, if you will, which is very funny if you consider the American version of Super Mario Bros. 2. He would be the high jump guy.
I guess that comes from the fact that they were just repurposing other characters for that game, but, like, it's the first time where Luigi kind of had a bit of his own identity here.
Thank you, Chocolate Blocks. We never would have gotten that without you.
Yeah, they do come in handy, although even then you kind of have to... There's this sort of trick with the steps at the end for getting the flagpole, which is that you want to just tap the lower steps. You don't want to be on any of them for too long, because that completely kills your speed and you won't make that jump. And I may have learnt that through many, many, many retakes of these runs.
What, you mean you didn't do this on your first try each time?
No, and there's a little reset counter in the emulator I was using for this that showed me a very big number at the end.
Ooh, was it triple digits?
It was a little bit more than that.
Oh my god!
Like, that's why I was saying that this is not a showcase of skill by any means. I cannot play Mario this well.
Since we are essentially just going through hard mode levels, do you have any Nintendo topics you wish to broach here?
Well, see, we're in kind of a weird spot right now where with the Switch 2, we don't actually have a Mario game yet proper, do we? We just have we had Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is kind of covering the same thing, like the same sort of, you know, early game that's like the big spectacle for a Nintendo system. But it does make me wonder what they're cooking up, because I feel like when the Switch came out and we got Odyssey, a lot of people were kind of expecting a Galaxy 2 kind of situation with that, where we would get like another Odyssey-style game. But the fact that hasn't surfaced tells me that they're not doing that. They're doing something completely original.
Yeah, well, I believe, like, a lot of people also suspected there was going to be a follow-on from what I forget what it was called. It was the thing that was included with Super Mario World, not World. God, I'm flailing it.
3D World, yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
People were expecting like a more fleshed out version of Bowser's Fury.
That's it.
Did seem like it could be the foundation of something, although at the same time, like looking back at it in hindsight, I can also kind of see that what they were doing there is they were trying to bulk out the re-release of 3D World, which in itself, like, they didn't necessarily have to do, but I appreciate that they did. And what they were basically doing with Bowser's Fury is that they'd adapted the 3D World gameplay to fit levels that were sort of a bit closer to Odyssey. So it's like, whether they were planning to do that as like its own thing or not, I'm not entirely sure, but it does seem that since that was like a much shorter game, it feels like they're leaving a lot on the table by not having like a longer version of that game.
I would like it if the next 3D Mario were to have worlds that, expand as you collect stuff, because you could have just a few big open levels instead of like 7 or 8 regular worlds.
See, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because like, if I were to describe my ideal 3D Mario game, it would probably just be more Odyssey, because like, Odyssey is my favourite of the 3D Marios at this point. It just kind of, it has that very Moorish kind of gameplay loop to it that I think the more traditional like level kind of things don't necessarily have, and the like more traditional open world kind of games don't really have.
Okay.
Again, if they were gonna do that, they probably would have done it already, so it's very hard to... Nintendo are one of the hardest companies to guess what they're gonna do, really, because like, you think you figured out a pattern with them, but no, they just surprise you with something, which is one of their strengths and weaknesses, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes you think you're going to get a new 3D Mario, other times you hear a knock at the door and Miyamoto just stares at you.
Sometimes there's a knock at the door and it's Donkey Kong instead.
Oh my god, look out for his Donkey Punch! Now, just going back to 3D Mario for a brief bit here, they actually put out an update for the Switch or Switch 2 version of Super Mario Galaxy 2 that puts an epilogue for Rosalina's storybook. A lot of people thought it was going to be a retcon of something that I won't name here, but you could probably guess what I'm referring to because it's recent. But no, it merely bridges the first Galaxy storybook and the second. And a lot of people think that may lead to Galaxy 3. Please lead to Galaxy 3. Galaxy is my favourite 3D Mario.
Galaxy has like the most dramatic kind of presence out of all the Mario games, really, don't it?
Yep.
Galaxy 2 is a bit of a blind spot for me with Mario. It's the one 3D Mario that I've just never got around to playing for one reason or another, and one day, but at the same time, like, I remember that one being the game that, like, there were a lot of complaints about at the time because of how similar it was to the original, and that might be why they backed off of doing, like, a second Odyssey.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Like, I know Nintendo listening to feedback rather than making shit up as they go along, but positive is not always a thing that happens, but you know.
Oh boy, we got 4 or 3 more worlds, depending on how you space things out here.
We're partway through World 5, so you can kind of round up if you want, it's fine.
You know I can't!
Well, I'll help, yes, that works out about right.
Thank you for not crouching on the coin egg, I appreciate that.
One of the trends that you notice with both of these games is that the underground ones tend to give you plenty of spaces to just, like, get above the top and just cheat half the fucking level, which I'm not going to complain about in Lost Levels.
That's funny, actually, because in the previous playthrough, you didn't use the warp zones at all, and if you were conditioned to do so, and you started playing Lost Levels, you would be punished for that, because they can warp you to random places, they don't always go forward.
Yes, there are quite a few warp points that send you backwards. I didn't use the warp points in any of these runs just because, like, I want to show off the levels. That's kind of like the meat and veg of why we're here, so...
Fair enough, fair enough.
And also, it's like, I'm cheating enough as it is by using resets. This is also something you see with Lost Levels, where they just sort of make up where the enemies go. Like, you just saw that blooper just sort of flying through the sky there. Like, I don't think he's meant to do that, but he was.
Well, bloopers can do many things. They're a versatile creature.
It's more the fact that they didn't in the first game.
This is a sequel. Get used to it, you pussy.
But then you go back to later games and the bloopers again end up being water enemies. In a certain way, it does kind of feel like this is what you'd see nowadays as like a deliberately bullshit hard fan hack.
I'm looking at you, Mario Maker. This is essentially where the term Kaizo came from.
It's not quite Kaizo. Kaizo, I feel like, is a different kind of experience. It's like built to be like task bait, and there's a certain satisfaction from watching like the tool assisted perfect runs of that because of just how frame perfect literally every part of it is. This is meant to be like the just Mario but brutally hard kind of thing.
I did enjoy that part in the Super Mario Galaxy movie where Bowser Jr. was making his own Mario Maker level.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because I haven't seen that.
Have you actually seen the first Mario movie?
The one from the 1980s, yeah, I saw that one.
You know damn well that's not what I was referring to.
No, I haven't. But I do like that original film. Like, for what it is, it's very charming.
Rest in peace, both Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Yeah, bless them.
One of those is real, one of them isn't.
I do feel like the water levels got a quite nice transition into 16-bit here, because like I've seen this a fair bit with like 16-bit readaptations of games where like the blues, they tend to go for a very rich, deep blue that I feel like a lot of original games wouldn't have necessarily worked with, because I saw that a bit in Mega Man The Wily Wars as well, which is it's like the Mega Man equivalent of All-Stars.
I have nothing to say about Qualifieri. That's not my bag, baby. That's why you're here.
See, all I'm really doing is looking at something and deciding if it looks nice or not. I'm just using bigger words.
That's fair. You do have glasses, which means you're smart.
It means I'm a nerd.
No, it just means you have poor eyesight, you idiot. What the fuck are you on about?
I have terrible eyesight. Like, I got my prescription updated recently, and like my left eye is completely fucked now.
Well, I knew you were more right-slanted.
You could have phrased that any other way.
No, my words are deliberate and true. Just like Richie, I only pick the most luscious, most moist words to put into a conversation.
Okay, so here's the thing. Richie is educated, so he can do that. You're just picking out random words that sound fancy.
Well, that just seems transcendent.
Fuck's sake. This is a Mario commentary, if you can't tell, guys.
Any other Nintendo topics we can broach here?
I was kind of hoping you had some. I'm not gonna lie, Tom.
Well, let's see. It was the 22nd anniversary of Pikmin 2 recently, which until 4 came along was my favourite Pikmin game.
I know that's a contentious opinion you have. Would you like to elaborate for the layman like me who has no opinion on Pikmin?
I kind of wish we did have a cam going, because you should have seen my face grow up into a scowl when you said that.
Tom, tell us why your unpopular opinion is right, please.
Well, first of all, you're the one proposing that this is an unpopular opinion. I just love Pikmin 2, and it was a very popular sequel.
Okay, it's just over the years and years of detached discourse I've consumed, I hear a lot of people saying that was not, but I will take your word for it because I have nothing to fire back at you with.
You and me both know that the opinion of Pikmin 2 being unpopular or bad comes from one person and one person only.
Oh yeah, like, you're still saving over that, are you?
I wouldn't say seething exactly, but Pikmin 4 is dope, Pikmin 2 is dope, Pikmin 1 is dope, and Pikmin 3 is pretty cool.
See, like, my experience, as I say, it might be very limited with Pikmin. I remember watching you play 4 during one of the charity marathons, and I remember thinking, this game looks very pretty, but a bit too slow-paced for my kind of taste. But I also remember there was that one really cool boss that like took me by surprise toward the end, so I'll let it have that.
Oh, you're so generous, mate.
Hey, like, if you can do something that's just a big spectacle that looks really cool, you have my attention. I am very simple a lot of the time.
I guess in terms of, like, 2D Mario games, this is sort of adjacent. We have Yoshi and the Mysterious Book releasing in May of 26. I may cover that as, like, a solo thing. It's not connected to this Mario event here that I'm pinning all my hopes on.
Yeah, we'll hope this goes down well. But yeah, like I remember seeing the first trailer of that. They did put out a like explainer kind of thing recently that I haven't got around to watching, but I do remember the art style that they were going with, like that kind of storybook, almost Winnie the Pooh-ish kind of thing from what I remember. That's a pretty cool take on Yoshi, I would say.
Yeah, I enjoy it, and even if it's not going for, a challenging sort of gameplay, it does look pretty neat. It's more about exploring the levels fully, getting to grips with the enemies in there and how they can be used to solve puzzles and so on.
I did see people talking about how there's, like, apparently no life system or whatnot, but, like, Epic Yarn is my favourite Kirby game, so I'm not going to hold that against it at all. Like, I can see the appeal of a game where you just sort of make your way through at your own pace like that.
Yeah, for sure. Oi.
But yeah, that is one thing, like, I know that Epic Yarn is kind of the black sheep game for Kirby, but something about it just sits well with me. Have you played that one, Tom?
No, I don't think I've played Epic Yarn. At one point I was going through the Kirbys and I just stopped. I did the same thing with the Dizzy series and also with Yakuza. I'm still on Yakuza 2.
That's fair. Like, it does just happen sometimes. Like, you just play a few games from a series and you just want a bit of, like, fresh air from it, really. If you're going to play Epic Yarn, I would strongly suggest playing the Wii version, because, like, I did a playthrough of Extra Epic Yarn. Spar and I did that a few years ago on the stream. While it's mostly a faithful game if you're playing on the new 3DS series, and, like, you can play at 60 FPS and whatnot, the control just feels a lot more slippery in a way. Like, the Meta Knight fight in particular gave me a lot of shit. And I feel like it's because just the thumb pad on the 3DS, it means that the thing where, like, you just tap the button twice to go into the run, like the car thing, that works fine on a Wiimote, but it's a lot more fiddly on the 3DS version, so, like, it kind of just takes away from it, unfortunately.
Here's one of the big things about Lost Levels that I don't enjoy, by the way, the random gusts of wind.
Oh yeah, they do like doing this, and especially when it's the springs that spring you off the top of the screen where you can't see where you're going. Because you might think for a game like this, well, they're just going to drop you down in the centre of the screen. Not always.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you just sort of see the bottom of Mario's body coming down and you think like, oh well, this ain't gonna work. It's a bit too late to correct this now.
I can't unsee this castle as, like, the bottom is a castle of itself, the top is the castle of itself.
Yeah, just stacking them up on top of each other.
Oh, the economy in the Mushroom Kingdom is in shambles since Bowser took over.
It seems like the sort of thing you would expect, like, one of the endings from a Wario Land game.
Yeah.
Which, like, the Wario Land series, I've played the first 2. I remember quite liking 1. 2, I appreciate what it's going for, but it ended up feeling quite bloated. Like, not in the best way. And for the kind of gameplay it is where it's just like a naturally slower paced take on Mario gameplay, I feel like it is a little bit much.
Of course, it would go on to inspire such games as Pizza Tower, so there's that.
Yeah, I've seen people play Pizza Tower before. That looks like that's like a faster paced Wario Land, which I know with the way I just described it sounds like I would just be talking about Mario, but no, there is a difference.
I don't like the Tids, I'm sorry. I can't even make out their faces, they're so small.
It's not their fault then. Maybe they're younger Toads, they've still got some growing to do.
Don't like it. No, I don't. Anywho, World 8. We are finally here. God bless.
And there's one of those gusts of wind. Like, gusts of wind, they might be great in the Pokemon TCG, they're not great here.
No, indeed.
Even if they completely break every fucking format they've ever been in. Like, that's one of the mobile games you've been playing recently, isn't it? The TCG Pocket game.
Yeah, but I'm mostly a collector. I don't really battle all that much.
That's fair. I did briefly look into the changes they made to the game, and I wasn't really impressed. Because the thing with more modern Pokemon TCG formats is that the problem they have compared to, like, my favourite era of the TCG, which was Gen 3, is that they're much more faster paced, and a lot of the gameplay boils down to, like, just get your big multi-prize hitter out, and whoever does that first wins. From what I can tell from Pocket, it feels like just a, like, even faster, even more sped up version of the game to try and make it accessible to younger players, which not really what I want. That's kind of the opposite of what I want.
Oh, 2000. Oh.
I know, I didn't get a proper run-up.
Why build a castle in the clouds? It's just asking to fall through.
Well, I mean, it's the Mario universe. There's a few of these. We had a whole town like that in the Mario RPG, weren't there?
Yeah, true. Speaking of, that was a pretty good remake. I enjoyed that. I have a full first-time playthrough of that on the channel, so if you want to check that out, certainly it's going to be a bit better than this playthrough.
Well, I mean, that had gameplay beyond just hold right, didn't it?
I'm just being self-deprecating here, you know. I mostly don't like covering games I haven't finished myself. That's the reason I was a bit opposed to putting Lost Levels on here.
For me, the reason why I wanted this in is that it kind of feels like there would be a very obvious gap if we're covering a full collection, except for one game. And yes, I know you want to rebut with, well, what about World? That's different, that's a different collection. And I didn't have that one as a child, so therefore it's not canon to me.
Fair enough.
It's also, this collection that doesn't have World is Nintendo's favourite one, isn't it? Because this is the version they decided to bring back on the Wii.
Yes they did. Here you go, 4 ROMs on a CD, full price if you please.
Hey, let's be fair here. It's not a CD, it's their proprietary version of a CD.
There was an art book as well.
Yeah, that was an absolute piss take, let's be real here. Like, for all we can say about the bullshit they did with, like, the 3D All-Stars, which, yes, it was bullshit on listing it after a certain time, at least that was, like, a substantial release of fairly recent games. It wasn't literally just a dump of ROMs, you know?
Yeah, they were the same games. There weren't really many changes, if memory serves.
The thing with the Wii version of All-Stars is that it was literally just the SNES ROM. Like, they didn't even update any parts of it at all. Like, sometimes with, like, re-releases of games, they'll go in and they'll make little tweaks. They didn't even do that.
Wait a minute, 2 Bowsers?
Yes, there are fake Bowsers, as we've established. They can clone them.
So, Peach, yeah? You got yourself kidnapped again, huh?
You're doing this again, are you? I get it.
Girl, you gotta be going much lower for what I just went through.
Christ.
Now try a more difficult quest. Oh my god.
It gets harder.
That's what she said. Anyway, we'll see you next time for the continuation of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels.